Hello and welcome to Criminal Justice in a Nutshell. My name is John Fisher and today's topic is white collar and organized crime. Crime is a job. You know, we sit here and we think about our prisoners. If you think about crime and criminality, you know, most people go to the drug dealers and the prostitutes and the murderers and the serial killers and the rapists. And all of these violent criminals or these property criminals, white collar crime was explained to us, developed. Edwin Sutherland was the primary super heavyweight in the world of white collar crime. He found that white collar crime is so little understood by some criminologists because they fail to recognize the violations of the public trust that go on here. Yes, I am recording today from Dinosaur Valley State Park in Glen Rose, Texas, and having a good old time spending the week before the 4th of July out here camping with my son and my wife. But a white collar crime is a violation of the public trust. It's bank fraud, bankruptcy fraud, economic espionage, embezzlement, environmental law violations, fraud, insider trading. You know, nobody ever thinks about Martha Stewart going to prison. They never think about the kickbacks and the securities fraud. Leonardo DiCaprio did a movie called The Wolf of Wall Street, where, you know, there was mail fraud, securities fraud involved, tax evasion, other forms of wire fraud, even Weeks and Weeks versus United States. That was a version, you know, it brought us the exclusionary rule, but it was a version of white collar crime. Edwin Sutherland said that a lot of people just don't understand how successful business owners and successful businessmen can turn to a life of crime. They just don't understand it. So corporate crime or corporate malfeasance come in many, many forms. Ranges from prior knowledge about dangerous automobile deficits like the Firestone tire incident or the Pinto. I mean, you guys, anybody ever heard of the Ford Pinto? Well, it was a popular car when I was growing up, but the Ford Pinto had a problem with blowing up. If you got into an accident, you got rear-ended while you were driving a Ford Pinto, you could probably end up dead. These types of individuals, gamble against being sued or end up going to prison. So you've got corporate fraud, and corporate fraud is a term that refers to accounting schemes, self-dealing by corporate executives. It's the rich getting richer and even richer still. Securities and commodities fraud is a term that refers to crimes such as stock market manipulation. Like this week, the British Empire, the English voted to leave Europe. You know, if you would have known that was coming, well, and a lot of people probably took advantage of this. They, while the market was down 610 points last week, a lot of people bought stocks. And now this week, I haven't checked in a couple days, but this week it's been going up, as far as I know. Granted, I've been unplugged, unconnected for 3 days now, and absolutely loving the fact that I'm not hooked up to my chats or my texts or my Facebook or any of those things. I've got a computer, but it doesn't hook up to the internet. I've got nothing here. And it's a lot of fun, and I'm really enjoying it. But I got to make these videos, and why not do that? My Ponzi schemes. Ponzi schemes are a form of high-yield investment fraud. They use money collected from new investors to pay off old investors, or to give them a little bit of money so that they'll say, hey, look, this is making me money. I want to invest more of my money, until it just blows up. The starter of the Ponzi scheme is a billionaire, and everybody else has lost everything that they have. Money laundering is a process of converting illegal earned assets into originating cash. One or more alternative forms to conceal such incriminating factors, the true ownership of the money, and the money floats around quite elaborately. White-collar criminals have many of the same motivations as other criminals. They want to gain more control, more power. They want more wealth. Criminologists generally agree that white-collar crime, like other crime, is learned. We learn how to become criminals. This is something that we do. White-collar criminals may not be directly dangerous to the health or the physical well-being of their victims. They just end up taking everything that they own. Some of the events or some of the efforts to curtail white-collar crime on the part of the government includes the Corporate Fraud Task Force. This is part of the U.S. Department of Justice. It's created under the administration of George Bush to fight against and to investigate corporate fraud. It's since been superseded by the Obama administration's Financial Fraud Enforcement Task Force as another way to police the wealthy and to ensure that the rich aren't getting rich off the backs of the poor. The Sarbanes-Oxley Act of 2002, a federal law that sets stiff penalties for corporate wrongdoers. It's officially known as the Public Company Accounting Reform and Investors Protection. This was set up as a way to help protect the investor from crooked dealings, especially after 9/11. And 9/11 caused an economic setback, so George Bush pushed these acts and signed these acts into law as a way to protect investors from losing their money when they invest. The Financial Fraud Enforcement Task Force is an organization created under the President Obama administration in 2009, and this was set up to combat financial fraud, including false claims made under various federal economic stimulus legislation. In 2009, we were in the middle of our Great Recession that started at the end of the Bush era, and we wanted to do everything to protect investors, to protect homeowners from the evil rich bankers. And we didn't want them to take advantage of this economy or of that economy to increase their wealth and to further and continue the harm that they were doing to the middle class and to the poor. Organized crime. This is another part of white-collar crime. We've all seen the Godfather movies. Most Americans traditionally think of organized crime as the mafia or the La Cosa Nostra, the Godfather movies and the Goodfellas, and that's what we think about organized crime. But it's more than that. Organized crime is where more than two people, it could even be two people, they work together for the same benefit or outcome. That's why you find a lot of drug dealers not getting busted for drugs, but getting busted for financial crimes and for organized crime. And it's now part of the RICO standard. They take their house, their car, their boats, and all their wealth because it's a financial crime. But we still look for the mafia don, and organized crime officially is defined as the unlawful activities of the members of a highly organized, disciplined association engaged in supplying illegal goods and services such as gambling, prostitution, loan sharking, narcotics, and labor racketeering. The Mafia is another name for the Sicilian organization, or La Cosa Nostra. Okay, the La Cosa Nostra literally means our thing. And the criminal organization of Sicilian origin, it's called the Mafia, the outfit, the mob, the syndicate, or simply the organization. Ethnic succession, the continuing process whereby one immigrant or an ethnic group succeeds another by assuming its position in society. When you get your organized criminals together, a criminal enterprise is the group of individuals who are identifiable, they have a hierarchy, the group with extensive supporting networks, and they engage in a significant criminal activity. Okay, so transnational organized crime is the unlawful activity undertaken and supported by organized criminal groups operating across national boundaries, such as our drug cartels. The drug cartels are operating in Colombia, Mexico, the United States, and everywhere in between. And because of the international, we have the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, or the RICO Act. And the RICO Act is a statute that was established in 1970, is intended to combat criminal operation, and it was part of the war on drugs. Okay, you forfeit all of your assets and any money, negotiable instruments, securities, homes, boats, cars, campers, anything that has value that may have been purchased through the use of money obtained through the illegal criminal acts and criminal organizations. So what can we do to combat organized crime? You know, it's glorified. Organized crime is glorified on the media and the TV and movies in Hollywood. And Americans, for the most part, turn a blind eye to organized crime because there's so much more things that the government needs to be going after. Any effective attack on organized crime would involve meeting or eliminating the demands of the consumers and the organized crimes products and services. Okay, we're not really going to beat organized crime until we can defeat prostitution, till we can defeat drugs, till we can defeat all of these other things. As long as there's a market for it, somebody's going to provide that market. Okay, so organized crime is going to stay with us for a very, very, very long time. This has been Criminal Justice in a Nutshell. My name is John Fisher. I hope you have a very, very good day.